And look, I'm only as good as the team around me. And my thing is to, as a creative lead and as a leader of the company, is to not be the master of one thing, but the jack of all things, right? And have a team of people with me and around me that can do things better than I can do. But my job is to make sure that I can work with these individuals and identify talent and identify people that can elevate stories and do things and design and bring and build and tell stories and create and make sure we're going in the right direction for the good of the brand. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Um, so that's my job as a creative lead is to inspire creativity and give the freedom for people to create, to make sure the journey, we're going on the right journey, but we're going on it as a team. My job, when I say I, is probably when it gets to a point where we can't get to a decision, and then I will make the final call on certain things. But I try to empower the team to, or the teams and the team to do what they do best. And for me, it's about unlocking individual brilliance within the group, within the team, than more so me standing there saying I did all this because my job really is to inspire.
I love it. So I'm not even going to ask you what your real title is, 'cause I think you answered it. You're like the inspiration leader. I love this. I really enjoy this aspect because I feel like there's so much ego in this business, and there's so many people that want to be in the limelight. They want to be in the front. They always want to be the ones that people think have created all the genius and all the things. And even though you probably are still being very humble in terms of what you're bringing to, Dr. Martens, I know that the people around you appreciate this. I can only imagine when you started there. I imagine that you started from a place of trust. Number one, okay, people trusted you, they believed you. There was no questions about who you are, what your credentials are. So that's a major, major, massive thing that you walk in with, that you can actually get something done. I also imagine because it is a legacy brand, you probably had to do a lot of networking and work just to sort of help people see your vision. And I know that's a whole nother conversation. I do want to talk about that if I can one day, but I want to kind of go to another place within just in general in the design world we're in. So I'm going to start off by asking you, are you a creative that happens to be Black, or are you a Black creative?
Hmm. I am a black creative.
Okay.
I'm a black creative, um, and I've grown into the role. Do you know what I mean? I've had to surround myself with people that I can learn from, to develop. Have I had moments of being feeling like I can't do this or should I do this in my own head? Yes, but I've had great people around me that saying that you need to be doing this. You need to be pushing and doing more, and you need to be challenging and thinking different and expanding and creating networks and meeting great people and putting yourself out there because um, there's an element of there's an element of imposter syndrome at times, right? In some of these big organization and brands where you feel, I'm a black guy, should I be in this position or a black female, or whatever that would be. And you think, can I really do it? And I've had great people around me, black and white, um, that have been there to support me and say, do you know what? Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Just challenge everything that you say makes sense. And they've been backing me and supporting me. So I am a black creative.
I love that. And I feel like, there's, I guess I really am curious to you because you've been all over the world. You've been to different countries, and you're also from a family. It sounds like immigrants, right? Like you're from a, I mean, would you call that? I mean, in the United
Yeah, of
States, that's
course.
what we would say.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
what do you, because so you're a Black creative. Do you see, differences between Black creatives in America and Black creatives in, just to say in England. I mean, I don't want to say all over the world, but by comparison, because you're in a high level, high design space with people like Pharrell Williams. Okay. Um,
I don't
um,
know about that, but yeah.
you don't know about that. I do, but you know, uh, you know, rest in peace, Virgil Abloh, right? I mean, you're in a, and then there's so many more, um, Black men coming into the creative space. I feel like many of them are Black American men,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So do you feel a solidarity? Do you feel a difference? Do you feel and I know in the United States we always talk about crabs in a barrel. There's only a few of us that can get through and get up. I hate that. I mean, all of us hate it, but it's there. How do you feel about yourself and you being a Black creative in context with other Black creatives all over the world? And how also do you feel about the idea that we're either collaborating together or we're going to try to jockey for the best position? I mean, understanding that you're working for a brand and you have to get the sale. Like, you know what I mean? Like, ultimately, you're trying to sell a million shoes. Like McDonald's, no matter what, they're going to crush the competition. If there's a hamburger shop next door to them, they're going to crush that competition because they got to sell their burger first. I get that, but you're a Black creative.
Mm, an amazing question. Look, first of all, um, Virgil was a collaborator and a friend of myself. We worked together at Dr. Martens many years ago. He's a genius, different level in terms of how he operated and what he did. And he was actually the one that brought and elevated a lot of Black creatives across the globe with his thinking and how he operated and how he opened the doors for many other people. So absolute genius. Can't have to say anything about Virgil apart from just amazing things. Um, I think with the job that I've had and the people that I've worked with, be it good friend Tremaine over at Denim Tears, Samuel Ross, another UK creative that used to work with Virgil and is part of the network, individual called Fode, who has a brand called Labrum in the UK. We're all trying to back each other and support each other more than anything, if I'm being brutally honest. I don't know about jockeying from my perspective or anyone that I know, but I think in the network and the community that I work with, everyone backs each other. Do you know what I mean? When I got the job at Doc Martens, some of the names that I just mentioned before sent me messages, gave me calls, all super proud, all backing each other, all like, dude, this is amazing, congratulations, which for me is just humbling. Do you know what I mean? Coming from people that you admire and that are friends, do you know what I mean? More so than anything. I think that's beautiful. And my role, and since things have been going in a beautiful way with Doc Martens and all these other things, I've had loads of young Black creatives that may not be on the same level as what Virgil was or Pharrell and all these wonderful people are reaching out to me. Now I feel it's my duty to not ignore that text message or that Instagram message and hit back. If someone hits me and says, dude, I've got a little project. What do you think? How do you think? Do you know, some people would ignore that. Do you know what I mean? Across any race or gender or whatever that would be. But my thing now is that I wasn't in that position 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So why don't I just pick up the phone and take the call and take it if someone wants to speak to me? Let's find 30 minutes in a day or 5 minutes to send a message to empower other people to try and elevate and help them get up. Does that make sense?
Absolutely,
Um,
totally makes sense.
so,
Yeah.
so for me, that's super important, right? And it goes back to this whole thing that I talk about the sports analogy and why you use the thing. You don't talk about I, you use we. Because in sports and in teams, yeah, I mean, you all work together for the greater good, right? So the greater good for me is that having 12 of the amazing, creative Black people around me, be it male, female, whatever that would be, we should all work together as a team to push things forward instead of trying to be the best team, the best player on the team. Do you know what I mean?
No, that.
Um,
Mhm.
that's how I look at it anyway. Maybe it's quite simplistic, but I think it's important.
Yeah, no, it addresses the Black solidarity issue, and the challenges that we have around that, and I know that, many successful Black people, wherever you come from in the world, you still, have to sell the product. But what you're talking about is really, it's really just about, finding community and having support, because it's very difficult being a Black creative in any space and anywhere in the world. There's not many of us. And that goes from whether you're working as a, junior designer somewhere, or whether you make it to the top where you are. We're just not there. We're not there. And I'm really curious. So the people that you mentioned are in the front. You're behind the scenes, which again goes back to the you using we and being relatively humble and crediting people with your success. We have trouble getting into spaces. Okay. So it sounds like you are willing to help other people get there. And I'm kind of, I mean, it do you ever get first of all, do you ever get exhausted by this? It doesn't sound like you do. It sounds like you're like, this is like, I'm fortunate, I'm lucky, look at how far I've come, look how many people got me here, I'm never going to stop trying to help anybody else. Of course, I'm putting words in your mouth. So but generally speaking, the doors are really locked, Darren. The doors are locked to us. They're just we keep being told there's opportunity for you here and there's possibilities there, and you're learning, and let's get you a mentor, and blah 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 blah. It's like, okay, I don't need a mentor anymore. I need someone to open the door